Tune into the Green and Growing program on Eagle Community Television with Holly Dickman, Ellis County horticulture agent. Holly will identify common lawn and garden issues and provide up-to-date information weekdays at noon and 9 p.m. on Channel 14. Green and Growing. Brought to you by Eagle Community Television and Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40 next to the Bickle Schmidt Sports Complex.
We're here at the Heirloom Garden at the Old Fort Hayes in Hayes, and this is a garden that the Master Gardener volunteers here in Ellis County maintain and plant every year. And this is a garden that actually shows vegetables that could have been grown when the fort was active during its time back in the late 1800s. A lot of these vegetables are heirloom vegetables for that reason, because they have been around since that time frame. And I wanted to talk about the garden today because this is the time of year here in August when we start to talk about fall gardening. Now, a lot of the plants that you see growing in the garden here today have been left here for demonstration purposes, and so they're getting very, very large. But things like beets and beans and peas and things like that are actually cool season vegetables, and so they like weather that gets a little bit cooler. And as we go into the fall, that's actually a really great time to garden in Kansas, because we get into those cooler temperatures. Your weed pressure is less, your insect pressure is less a lot of times, and you actually have some pretty good success having nice cool temperature vegetables growing at that time of year. This is the time of year that you still have time to go ahead and plant things like spinach, radishes, beets. If your zucchini or things like that have bit the dust, you could still plant another one of those and get some of those harvested before we have that first frost in the fall. You need to remember that first average frost date, because that's really important for what types of vegetables you can grow. If you're planting things in August, you want to make sure that you have enough time from planting date to harvest to get that time in before we have that first frost, which in our area here averages around the second week in October, second to third week in October, depending on the year. If you're new to gardening, or maybe if you need some new tips, we do have a nice a Kansas garden guide through Extension that goes over the basics from soil preparation to watering to season extension to harvesting and storage, and some of those common pest problems that you might run into. This is available at our office for a small fee, or you can find it online at our website for free. When you're talking fall gardening, you don't have to worry about really tilling up the garden or adding a lot of organic matter. You just want to make sure and lightly till, because you want to keep as much of that soil moisture there as you can. You also will have those seeds up relatively quickly. One disadvantage with fall gardening is that you do have to water a little bit more, because the weather is still very hot in August. And so, as you could imagine, keeping those seeds moist until they germinate might be a little more of a challenge than it is earlier in the spring. If you have questions about gardening, and especially fall gardening at this time of year, please contact your local Extension office for more information. Reporting for K-State Research and Extension, Eagle TV, I'm Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Extension Agent.
Tune into the Green and Growing program on Eagle Community Television with Holly Dickman, Ellis County horticulture agent. Holly will identify common lawn and garden issues and provide up-to-date information weekdays at noon and 9 p.m. on Channel 14. Green and Growing. Brought to you by Eagle Community Television and Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40 next to the Bickle Schmidt Sports Complex.